What do you pray for, Sir Jorah?
Home.
I pray for home too.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back for another Game of Thrones Season 8 prediction video. I have been making a lot of character breakdown videos lately, and they are mostly about what I think will happen with some of the main characters. But I wanted to make a video about a character that doesn't get as much recognition, so today I want to talk about Sir Jorah Mormont. I want to discuss how I think Jorah Mormont's story could end. I have been rereading the books, and I came across something that I thought was interesting, and I wanted to run it by you just to see what you think about this possibility. Before Season 7 came out, I made a video about Jorah Mormont, and in that video I predicted Jorah would survive the entire series. But I remember some people commenting on that video, and they were saying they actually think Jorah will die. I know some people believe Jorah will sacrifice himself in some way to save Daenerys Targaryen. That's actually not a bad prediction. We know how Jorah feels about Daenerys, and I am sure Jorah would do just about anything for Daenerys at this point, even if that means giving his own life. Jorah kinda proved this in Season 7 when he volunteered to go beyond the wall. He did not have to do that, and Daenerys even advised against it, but Jorah was willing to go to show that he could still serve Daenerys in any way possible. But with that being said, I still don't believe Jorah will die. I don't think he would need to sacrifice himself to save Daenerys, although I won't completely rule that out because it is possible. In my opinion, Jorah still needs to finish his own character arc, and in Season 8 we will finally see this come to fruition. Before I go any further, let me give you a little bit of the backstory first, that way everything will make sense. As most of you should know, Jorah's father was Jorah Mormont. He was the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch at the beginning of the story, but some of you may not know why his father was actually in the Night's Watch in the first place. Jorah Mormont was the Lord of Bear Island and head of House Mormont, but he gave up his seat of power and joined the Night's Watch, that way his son Jorah could take over Bear Island as soon as possible. Jorah Mormont did not have to join the Night's Watch. It wasn't like he broke any laws or anything like that. He only joined so that his son could take over Bear Island in his place. After he joined the Night's Watch, that was when Jorah became the head of House Mormont, and he eventually married a woman who was accustomed to living a lavish lifestyle.
You sold slaves.
Aye.
Why?
I'd no money and an expensive wife.
And where is she now?
In another place. With another man.
We have all seen Bear Island, and it's not really the type of place that is known for having fancy dinners and tournaments and things like that. But Jorah went above and beyond to try and please this wife that he had. Jorah was having singers and musicians come to Bear Island to play for her, and he even paid chefs to come in and make these big, extravagant dinners. But he eventually ran out of money. He could no longer afford to keep up with the type of lifestyle his wife wanted. So he eventually started to sell poachers into slavery to make some extra cash, but people found out. And this was devastating news, especially for Jorah Mormont. His son was now the disgraced knight, who had to live the rest of his life in exile because of his crimes.
I brought shame into my house. It broke my father's heart. I've forfeited the right to claim this soul. It's yours.
Now, can you imagine how Jorah must have felt about this? His father gave up his life for the Night's Watch so that Jorah could take over the house. And now Jorah is on the run and living his life in exile, which means his father pretty much joined the Night's Watch for nothing. Jorah can no longer rule Bear Island, which is all his father ever wanted. Jorah Mormont had brought great shame on his house, but there is still time for a second chance. Jorah does not have to die before he can be respected in the eyes of his family and the entire North again. You have to think they are keeping this character alive for a reason. I don't think they cured his grayscale just to kill him off later. That really wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. They could have just killed him then. He must still have a purpose and a role to play, in my opinion. As of right now, Jorah is currently on his way north with the rest of Jon and Dany's party, and when they arrive, Jorah will finally see his family again. But Lyanna Mormont isn't just going to forgive Jorah for everything he had done. Lyanna Mormont shows no mercy. But when she finds out Jorah went beyond the wall with their king in the north, she will at least hear him out and give him a chance to speak. We already know Jon isn't holding anything against him. Jon said he was glad Ned Stark didn't take off his head for selling poachers into slavery.
Your father wanted to execute me, you know.
I heard.
He was in the right, of course. Didn't make me hate him any less.
I'm glad he didn't catch you.
Me too.
Jon and Jorah was able to bond a little bit, and this relationship will only grow stronger in the episodes to come. We have also seen Jorah form a relationship with Samwell Tarly. Sam immediately had respect for Jorah just because his father was Jorah Mormont. Sam was willing to risk his own life to save Jorah's just out of the love that he had for his father. And this could be setting up something we will see in the future.
I owe my life. Her. And you.
Your father saved me more than once. It's the least I could do.
Perhaps our paths will cross again.
I hope they do.
But before we get to the final episode, we will have to see the Great War play out first. Personally, I don't see Samwell Tarly doing much fighting in that war. There is something Sam can provide though, other than just his intelligence. Sam currently has his father's Valyrian steel sword Heartsbane. He took it to the Citadel with him, and he took it to Winterfell with him when he left Old Town. This sword has also stayed in the plot for a reason as well. I believe Sam will allow Jorah to wield this sword in the war to come. This sword would be a lot more effective if it was in Jorah's hands instead of Sam's. Right now, it's looking like Sam and Bran will continue to work together in order to find a way to stop the Night King. And if that's the case, Sam can let someone else use his father's sword. Since Sam and Jorah have already become friends, he seems like the best option right now. Jorah Mormont might be an old man, but he can still kick some ass, and if he had a Valyrian steel sword to use, he could do even more damage than he did when he was using those dragonglass daggers beyond the wall. But what I really want to talk about is what will ultimately happen to Jorah at the end of this story. Assuming he survives the war, what would he do next? There is a chance Sam might be the one to tell Jorah where to go next. Some of you may not know this, but when Jorah's father died, he actually had one dying wish, and he told this to Samwell Tarly right before he died. After Lord Commander Mormont was stabbed, he was laying in Samwell Tarly's arms as he was bleeding out, and Sam was doing everything that he could to comfort him as he was dying. But Jorah asked Sam to do one thing. His breathing became very shallow and his voice was almost a whisper, but what he said to Sam was, "Tell my son, Jorah, tell him, take the black, my wish, dying wish. Tell Jorah, forgive him, my son, please go." As Jorah Mormont was dying in Sam's arms, he only wanted Sam to do one thing, and that was to find his son, Jorah Mormont, and tell him his father's dying wish was for him to take the black and join the Night's Watch. Jorah never got to see his father again, and all this time he has felt ashamed that he dishonored his house, especially considering his father left him in charge after he joined the Night's Watch so Jorah could inherit Bear Island. If Sam told Jorah that was his father's dying wish, I believe he would want to honor that. Jorah would see that as trying to make amends for how he had broken his father's heart all those years ago. But what I want to ask all of you is, do you think Jorah could do something like this? I think it is possible, but the only problem I have with this is I'm not so sure there will still be a Night's Watch. There are no more humans living beyond the wall, and if the Night King and his army are completely destroyed, then there wouldn't be a need for the wall. Who would the Night's Watch need to defend the realm against if everything north of the wall is dead? I could see Jorah trying to fill his father's shoes in a sense, but if the Night's Watch is disbanded, then he would need to do this in another way. If the Night's Watch still exists at the end of the show, then I think this is a good possibility for Jorah. He could be the 1000th Lord Commander, and that does have a nice ring to it. Either way, I believe Jorah will survive all the fighting. He has survived Grayscale already, and they aren't going to kill him off before he can redeem himself in his family's eyes. He has made some mistakes like all of us, but Jorah is a really good man, and he deserves to live a normal life after everything that he has been through. But this is just my opinion, and you certainly have the right to disagree. Let me know your thoughts on Jorah Mormont's fate. Do you believe he will honor his father's dying wish, or do you think Jorah will die in the end? I'm really curious to see what you think, but before I go, I want to thank everybody for watching the video. I really do appreciate that, and I hope everybody has a great day. I will see you in the next one. Bye.